Did you know that Bram Stoker's classic horror novel Dracula wasn't actually the first story ever about a blood-sucking Transylvanian count? Well, there's a lot more to this story than meets the eye. So let's dig into today's episode. Bram Stoker's research notes for Dracula contain the names of several historical figures who are rumored to have inspired aspects of his famous novel. One such person was Vlad the Impaler, Prince of Wallachia, also known as Vlad the Impaler. This infamous ruler of an area of modern-day Romania during the 15th century has been linked to the legend of Dracula due to his brutal reputation and alleged practices of dipping his bread in blood. However, historians have debunked these claims, pointing out that stories of Vlad the Impaler dipping bread in blood were likely sensationalist propaganda spread by Vlad's enemies. Furthermore, despite rumors that Vlad dipped his bread in the blood of Christian captives, a detail not found in Stoker's research notes, Vlad's record as a ruler suggests he was primarily concerned with expanding Wallachian territory, rather than engaging in cannibalistic behavior. Another potential inspiration for Stoker's character was Elizabeth Bathory, a Hungarian countess known as the Blood Countess. Bathory was notorious for torturing and killing hundreds of young women, with some reports claiming she dipped her bread in their blood. While Stoker's research notes mention Elizabeth Bathory, there is no evidence that he visited Hungary during his research, nor does the name Dracula appear in any of his writings. Stoker's research notes do contain a mention of a meeting with an Irish monk named Brother John, who claimed that the devil had appeared to him in the form of a cat and spoken Latin. However, Stoker's use of Brother John's story seems to be limited to the idea of the devil speaking in a foreign language, as the concept of a shape-shifting cat does not appear in Dracula. Additionally, Stoker's research notes contain descriptions of various superstitions and folklore, including beliefs in vampires, but do not provide any details about the figure known as Dracula. Indeed, the figure of Dracula himself appears to have been largely a product of Stoker's imagination, although the author did draw upon various sources to inform his creation. In addition to the figures mentioned earlier, Stoker may have been influenced by a number of other stories and legends, such as the legend of the Hungarian folk hero named Dracula, who fought against the invading Mongols. However, given that Stoker's research notes contain little information about Dracula himself, it seems clear that the character was largely a product of Stoker's own imagination. When Bram Stoker published Dracula in 1897, the novel was an instant success, selling over 100,000 copies in its first run. But Stoker couldn't have imagined the impact the book would have on the world of cinema. Indeed, the release of F.W. Murnau's Nosferatu in 1922 was a watershed moment for the film industry. It's considered one of the earliest and most influential vampire films ever made, and helped establish the vampire genre in cinema. However, Nosferatu is not technically an adaptation of Stoker's novel. Despite bearing similarities to the story of Dracula, the screenplay for Nosferatu diverges significantly from Stoker's narrative. This deviation was likely due to copyright concerns, as Stoker's widow held the rights to any adaptations of the novel. As a result, the characters and plot elements in Nosferatu differ from those in Dracula. For example, the main character in Nosferatu is named Hutter, not Jonathan Harker, and the female lead is named Ellen, not Lucy Westenra or Mina Murray. Additionally, Nosferatu's portrayal of the vampire is more monstrous and less seductive than Stoker's depiction of Dracula. This is evident in the film's casting of Max Schreck as the vampire, whose gaunt appearance and twitchy demeanor contribute to the film's overall sense of unease. Nevertheless, Nosferatu's loose adaptation of Dracula was a critical and commercial success, paving the way for future adaptations of Stoker's novel. The film's influence on subsequent vampire films is undeniable, and its contribution to the development of the vampire genre in cinema is a testament to the enduring popularity of Stoker's work. Todd Browning's Dracula was released in 1931, ushering in a new era of vampire cinema. Unlike Nosferatu, Dracula is a faithful adaptation of Stoker's novel. The film stars Bela Lugosi as Dracula, a charismatic yet sinister count who preys on the innocent citizens of Transylvania. When Dracula arrives in England, he continues his reign of terror, infecting Lucy Westenra, played by Helen Chandler, and Mina Murray, played by Helen Vinson. The film's supporting cast includes David Manners as John Harker, Edward Van Sloan as Dr. Seward, and Dwight Fry as Renfield. Together, they set out to destroy Dracula and bring an end to his evil. One of the standout features of Browning's Dracula is its groundbreaking special effects. The film's use of innovative techniques, such as rear projection and stop-motion animation, creates a sense of realism that was previously unimaginable in vampire cinema. For example, the scene in which Dracula transforms into a bat is a particularly impressive feat of special effects that helped to cement the film's place in cinematic history. Another aspect of Browning's Dracula that sets it apart from previous adaptations is its exploration of the psychological aspects of vampirism. The film delves into the minds of its characters, particularly Dracula and Renfield, providing a glimpse into their motivations and desires. This approach adds a layer of complexity to the story that had not been seen in vampire films before. Overall, Todd Browning's Dracula is widely regarded as one of the greatest vampire films ever made. Its faithful adaptation of Stoker's novel, groundbreaking special effects, and exploration of psychological themes established a new standard for vampire cinema and left a lasting impact on the genre. But the impact of Dracula on cinema didn't stop there. In fact, it led to a surge in popularity of horror films. Universal's decision to release Dracula as a part of their classic monster series proved to be a wise one. The film was a box office success and helped to establish Universal as a major player in the horror genre. The studio's subsequent releases, including Frankenstein, The Wolfman, and The Mummy, were also well received by audiences. This success led to a wave of horror films being produced throughout the 1930s and 40s, many of which were inspired by Universal's classic monster series. Some notable examples include Son of Frankenstein, House of Frankenstein, and House of Dracula. These films continued to explore the themes of good versus evil, man versus nature, and the consequences of scientific hubris that had been established in Dracula. In addition to inspiring countless horror films, Dracula also influenced filmmakers working outside of the horror genre. For example, Akira Kurosawa's 1950 film Rashomon, which explores themes of good versus evil and the power of suggestion, is often cited as being influenced by Dracula. Similarly, Alfred Hitchcock's 1960 film Psycho, which subverts audience expectations and features a memorable villain, is also said to have been inspired by Stoker's novel. Today, Dracula remains one of the most popular and enduring figures in horror literature and cinema. Its influence on popular culture is immeasurable, having inspired everything from comic books to television shows and video games. The character of Dracula has been portrayed by numerous actors over the years, each bringing their own unique take on the iconic villain. Some of the most famous interpretations of Dracula include those by Bela Lugosi, Christopher Lee, Gary Oldman, and Anthony Hopkins. Stoker's novel has also been adapted countless times for the screen, with new versions still being released today. Whether in film or television, Dracula continues to captivate audiences and terrify viewers, and there you have it. From its humble beginnings as a novel to its current status as a cultural icon, the story of Dracula has had a profound impact on the world of entertainment. What are your thoughts on today's video? Which version of Dracula is your favorite? And do you think the character would have become so popular if not for the brilliant storytelling of Bram Stoker? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.